Hello everyone, welcome to Billy Holman Creations. This is Billy. Today I am going to try my hand at another floral arrangement, or actually 4 of them, because I have made it a habit of picking up silk flowers when I'm at the secondhand stores, and I have dug out quite a few here, these to which I'm not real fond of. Some are faded. The purple ones are faded. I don't like those big lilies. They're too big. But what I'm going to do is make some baskets, because if you're like me, I love hanging baskets outside with fresh flowers. They're so hard to maintain because they dry up so quickly. And I have 4 posts on my patio that I would love to hang some baskets from. So let me just show you quickly what I have, and then I'm going to try to do one on my own and see how it turns out. Then I'll come back to you and show you what I've done. First of all, I mentioned my friend Nancy. Nancy moved. I miss her, but she gave me 4 of these metal baskets. Now these aren't real big, but they're a nice size, so I thought I would use those. I did order a roll of, oh, the word just slipped my mind. What is this? For the inside of the baskets. And I'm going to cut this and use what I can from this roll. Then I had this piece of foam, and I went ahead and bought this other piece, which is bought this from Walmart. So I'm going to cut that in sections. Use that. I dug out my floral tape and wire cutters, and I have all these florals. So what I want to be sure to do is when I put these together, I'm going to probably use a lot of hot glue with my glue gun, because I want to secure these in, because they'll be out in the weather, and with wind and all, I don't need the flowers blowing away or popping off. So that's my plan for the day, everybody. Well, for this evening. And I've got to take off for a big weekend getaway again. So let me get started on this evening. I'll get back to you when I have a prototype made. Like I said, I'm not a florist, but I'll give it my best shot. So I'll see you when I have one finished, okay? Hi everyone, I'm back. I was able to make 3 baskets, and now I'm on the last one. My craft room is a disaster, and the last 2 weeks have been a whirlwind. On the go. But all is good. And let's get started on this last basket, because I need to clean my craft room after this one, I'll tell you. Okay, so what I did is this roll of, I still don't know what it's called, basket stuff. I'm going to call it basket stuff. Because it's 12 inches wide, I'm going to make a 12-inch square. And I wish this would have been like 14 inches wide, so it would have fit the basket better. But I'll just make do with what I have here. And this square is pretty handy. I think I got it at the dollar store. So it's not going to be a perfect square or a perfect cut, but I'm going to go 12 inches and make this square. So let's go to the other side. I'm just going to measure across 12 inches, make a mark, and then, gosh, that looks off. It is off. Duh. That was 11 inches. Let me do that again. 12 inches. Here we go. I'll just make a straight line down this, and I'll cut it. Now I wish I would have recorded the first basket I made, because I'm thinking it's probably going to be a lot. It is prettier than this one will be, because I'm down to the last bit of some florals. And I'm going to try to remember step by step how I did this. So I can put that away. And I'm just going to cut the square. And it doesn't come to the edge of the basket all the way up the sides. That's why I was saying I wished it was 14 inches wide, but who knew? I just am going by what works and having to purchase just a small amount of supplies. So we have our square. Now I have this big old Tupperware bowl that I'm going to use, and it measures from 12 on the inside rim to the inside rim. I'm just going to place this by feel, getting the edge of this basket stuff. I don't know why I can't remember what that is, but I think my mind's blown a bit today, and I'm just going to mark where to cut a curve. Simple as that. Whatever you can find to cut a curve will work. Okay, I'll put that away. I've got stuff all over the floor and everything else. Let me just cut this curve a little bit. Get rid of that corner. They turned out very pretty. I have 3 hanging outside right now. But I do like how they turned out, and I can't see that curve. There it is. It's probably good on the scissors, eh? Doesn't have to be perfect, but it will work. These were fun to make. Am I repeating myself already? Gosh, I'm just started recording and I'm repeating myself already. Put that aside. Now, here's my basket. And to keep it from wobbling, I just put a roll of tape here, and I can keep that kind of level. Now, what I did is I folded it in half. See, it's not perfect. I folded it in half, and on this I went in about 3, almost 4 inches, just cutting this fold, because we want to have it bend for us. Then I'm going to fold it again the other way. Take that same seam and cut 3 to 4 inches. First one I measured, I was very precise. At this point, it'll work. Okay. Now, I can press this. If I fold, I can find the center of my basket, kind of open that up, get it down, and I know I'm going to have 1/2 of an inch open or more on the edges. And I can fold these cut flaps into themselves to give me a curve. Okay, there. Now I'm going to press that in. I didn't glue it because I might want to disassemble this at some time down the road, because these flowers are going to be outside. They're going to get dusty and they're going to get dirty, and it's not going to be pretty forever. So got that down as far as I can go. Then I was looking through my supplies, and I had some little green zip ties, so we're going to use those. And all I did here was go to the folded area, and I'm just going to puncture a couple of holes and go part of this basket where the metal crosses over itself, and we're just going to zip tie these in. So you can see my holes here. Had to do it a couple times on a few, but if I can get that through. Whoops, it's hitting that. No wonder. Get that through this way. Thread it back into the center. Come out this hole if I can find it. Where are you? It's there. I know it is. I just punched a hole there. Let's do that again. Just using an old awl, A-W-L. Punch those holes. Slip it into itself with this zip tie. Come on, find the little hole. Get it started and just pull with my handy dandy old needle nose pliers. I'm just gonna zip that in there and make it nice and tight and clip off that excess. And I'm gonna go and do all 4 sides. Now you see the gap. We've got to fix that gap. You really don't have to, but then you just see the stems of the silk flowers, and I don't think you want to see that. So what I've dug out, and let me bring you down and put you to a little bit of an angle. Maybe that'll help you see what I'm going to do. I can just tip that right. Stay there. Like so. All right, I dug out some green, oh goodness, green moss. A big old bag of it, and it is old and it is dry. And this is where the mess comes in. So I've got a piece here, and I'm breaking off pieces that are somewhat solid. So I have to ruffle through the bag and get some that are, you know, sort of holding themselves together like this. Pull a few of these out of here. And then what's really fine and, you know, left over, you can use it in some of your resin projects, or what I'm going to do with the extremely fine pieces, because I did use up the rest of another bag, is I'm going to pour them in my indoor plants. Just put them on top, stuff them on top, and make them look nice. Then, you know, just seeing dirt. And I'll use it that way, and I know there's a lot of minerals in these pieces that your plants will appreciate. And in some of my plants, I will admit, I have paper plates cut and laying on top, because my cats are very clean. They usually go outdoors, and I do have a litter box. But some of them, when they're bored, just like to dig in the dirt. So this way, they'll be less likely to dig when they don't see the dirt. I know they can smell the dirt, but they won't see it. And plus, my plants will get a little nutrients. So my glue gun is heated up, and I've gone through maybe 5 or 6 long sticks of hot glue, but I'm gonna just patch these spaces so you can't see them, and the wind will blow them, and you know it's not gonna last forever, but I just want them to look nice from the get-go. So I'm just gonna make a big old wad of glue here and get started. Go ahead and plop that in there. Be careful, don't burn your fingers. Doesn't matter what the inside looks like. I just want to have some of that down, and then when you put your flowers in, it's going to hold it in tighter too. That's my theory. We'll see how that turns out. Okay? Just fill it in. I could break some of this apart. See how dry it is? This is very old. Usually when you purchase it, it's not quite as brittle. But I am, once again, just using up what's here. Anyway, let me share my whirlwind with you. I've been in this house 40 years, and when Dusty's been over, we have been rooting, or when I've had time, just rooting through, you know, the closets and boxing things up that I don't really want to see anymore, or I don't want to know I have anymore, and I just don't want to have it anymore. So he said, well, we're going to have a yard sale. So I spent yesterday, he was over here, and I never worked so hard in a day as I did going through the shed, the shop, the garage. We have another coop building, just going through everything for a yard sale. My husband's been at it today, going through his things. It's amazing what we've acquired. But aside from getting that ready, music has been quite busy. I mean, we played 2 jobs last weekend. We were out of town on the Friday night, and then had to rush home and do Saturday. That was rather local. And oh my goodness, we booked 3 jobs off of that one gig. That's exciting. So earlier in the week, our guitar player Ron, who's in charge, he's our leader. He booked like 3 more jobs through the rest of the year, including New Year's. And then last night I get a text, and we are already booking in February of next year. That is amazing. So music has really been on the uphill swing. So that is very exciting. And to, when we're just a little band from, you know, the local community here, we're not a big deal, but I'm telling you, we're good. It is good. And to have people just approach you and say, hey, will you play this party, or will you play that party, or my birthday, or the class reunions. And oh, I'll tell you, I've been very busy and grateful for the music. And the fellows I work with, we've known each other for years. It's a great team effort. I just love it. But I must say, it's getting harder. It's getting harder for me with this back. And I don't want to complain, but it's just the truth. And with my age, I know I can't do it forever, but I'm going to take total advantage of it as long as I possibly can, because it's always been a great therapy for me. Music is therapy. Music is a great therapy. Whether you play music or listen to music or just love to dance to music, it's one of the best therapies that I think the good Lord ever gave us was music. So anyway, that's been keeping me busy. And aside from that, not just playing the music on the job, that means I have to practice playing the music on my keyboard. And I'm not real, that's something I started later on in life, and I still have a long way to go, but it feels good to know that I'm learning. I'm continuing to learn new things and loving every bit of it. So, look at the mess I'm making. Isn't that great? Yeah. This stuff, oh, if I don't pick it up, I'm tracking it all through the house, which I've done already. I see a few spots. I'm just going to throw a little more right in here. and go completely around it. So here is a piece that's left from my block of styrofoam I got from Walmart, and I think this is like 5 inches. Yes, 5 inches. And I took my old kitchen bread knife, and I'm just going to cut. Pardon the noise. This is harder than the other foam was, that's for sure. But I'm going to get through it. My white cutting board that's down here is not white anymore. That's for sure. I think I got it at Walmart one day. That's pretty inexpensive. I need to go shopping too. We're about out of groceries. We've both been running. Let me know what your cue is when you have to go get groceries. For instance, I know, I have to go when I'm out of cat food and toilet paper. Those are the two main items in this household. Sounds kind of silly, but it's the truth. That's when we have to make the run to the big city and get that taken care of. Now, I'm just going to cut these little corner tips off of here. That. Sort of round it off a little bit. Like I said, I'm not a florist. This is all by watching other YouTube videos and just what I think might work. There we go. So, rather than having that sit down square, I'm also going to shave just at a little angle. I'm just going to shave a little of these edges off. And just make sure it'll sit nicely in that basket. Oh, this is tough. Maybe my knife's old. Well, my knife is old, but maybe it's dull. Snap it off. I'm really bad about duplicating things. I need variety. Like right now, this being the 4th basket, it's like I'm almost over it. I want to do something different. Get bored easy. There. Last one, I think. Okay. There. Let's just add more to the mess. Trash can down here. Okay. It's not going to get any cleaner. Through there I go. So, here's the basket. Doesn't matter if this is loose in there. I am just going to... hot glue melts styrofoam, but I'm going to just give it a whole bunch. You can hear it crackle. Just kind of go around the edge a little bit. Isn't that some popcorn? Or bacon in the pan. There we go. I'm just going to set it in there and push. Let that sit up. And now the easy part starts. This is just the hardest part, really. The next part's pretty simple. We can just whip that right out. Now, I've spoke before. I've done. How do you say that? Spoke too soon, because now watch, things will go awry. Okay. Now, set that aside. When I went through these flowers, I divvied up, groups of 4 so I could have the similar flowers in each basket. And then I found myself running short, so I had to cut some other pieces. And what I did, for instance, let me show you, is I went in and just squirted hot glue right in the middle of these. So it would run down, and then I glued the flower to the stem with hot glue. The leaves I'm just gonna slide up. This one's pretty long, so I'll leave it where it is. So I did that. Some I've missed because I just grabbed some more. And I meant to tell you, these little purple ones, they were quite dirty. And normally if I get these from the thrift shops, I just get soapy water and dip them in water and rub them up and rinse them out, and they turn out fine. But I did not do it to these, thinking, oh, they'll be outside anyway. But boy, some of them inside were pretty dirty. So once again, I just squirted glue on the inside, but I'm going to have to trim these though. So I started with sort of a system. This pink one here is going to be my middle flower, and I cut the stems from the flower down about 6 inches. That's just a little over 6, and I can just nip that end off with these, and that's going in the middle. That'll be our middle piece. And you know, I didn't glue these in place. Once I got them in where I wanted them and just made sure they were securely in there, I didn't worry about, you know, them coming out of the basket. I worried more about the tops of the flowers flying off. That's why I glued those. So that's my centerpiece. Now the rest, I know I didn't trim them all 6 inches, so I'm just gonna make sure that's done. Some I'll have to cut down to 5. And those big lilies I had, those big pink lilies, I should have saved a few. I wasn't fond of them, but I ended up putting them in my fountain, so they're floating around in my fountain outside, which is kind of a nice touch. That's about a good inch. So I'm going to start with these purples, so I do need to trim those to about 6. And these pieces are going to fly all over. I'm just going to even them out the best I can. I don't know if this is how it's done, but I wanted the baskets to just have a round dome to them. So it was just a little round dome or mound. Nothing elaborate with flowing flowers going down the sides. Just wanted little round balls. I think they're going to be fine. Let's get these purple ones. So once again, I went into the middle with hot glue, glued the flower to the stem. Then I can just pull those up. It's not going to matter much. Might add a little green and look a little more filled in with them that way. So, pardon me, I should have been prepared for this one. But this is real time, pretty much, so it doesn't take much once you get your basket ready. And I was able to use up a bunch of flowers. You know what that means. I'm going to use up a bunch of flowers. And then next time next time I go to a secondhand store, oh my gosh, Billy, I'll be buying more. This is a pretty flower. I had to kind of take some glue and I'm going to have to like glue this area down because I like them open so you can see the actual flower. And I could have doubled these flowers, and I thought about that after the fact. Let's just get that one close to 6 inches and we'll see. Okay, so what I did is I started with these purples and these lilies. So now I'm going to have to change my angle for you so you can see what it is I'm doing. Let me try to figure this out. So I want you to be able to see. If I can tilt it this way, bring it down, I think you'll be able to see a little better. Okay. And I'll bring this here. Yeah, and I just want to go to bringing these flowers just right to the edge. So I'm going to have to go in slanted. And of course, these are way too long. I wasn't thinking. All right. Let's just cut a couple. I want to see. Oh, I could take a good inch off of these. And I'm going to put them in a little more than an inch. I'm going to put them in at a slant. But I just want to start with the rims, and the centerpiece will be, you know, a bit of a guide for me. And I'm just going to alternate. And then once I get the sides done, I'm going to fill in with, you know, the different varieties that I've gathered up. Okay, here we go. No glue necessary. I'm just going to slide in. Is that going to be good enough? I should tilt that a little more. No, that'll bring me flat again. Let's see. If I back up the camera. What I really don't want you to see is my dirty old t-shirt. Because it's all stained, and that's what I live in, is dirty old t-shirts. Well, they're clean, dirty old t-shirts. Alright. I had it proper at one point, didn't I? Let me back this up again. Alright. That's at arm's length. So, here we go. Just going to go in sideways and just bring this down. Just hanging over the edge a little bit. So then I'm going to turn, and I'm going to go opposite from that one. And we'll do that again. Come on, you. Just to the edge, like that. Just a little bit overhanging. We'll spin this. I don't mean to get you dizzy, but this is all that I'm going to do. Get those close to the edge. I think I want them a little closer. That one's got a leaf in the way, but all right. That one's in too far. But I can adjust them after, when they're all in there. You know, then it's like a matter of just almost beating them up, trying to get them where you want them. And I know real florists don't do that. They don't have to. They know what they're doing. Okay, so that's like that, covering the edge. I'm going to take these purples. And what I did is I just went right beside the white ones. Like that. Spun it around, go in at an angle. I'm going on the just the one side, like this. And there was a couple of these I didn't trim, and then when I went to hang them outside the bottom, I went clear through the bottom, which I didn't intend to do. At least with the wire you can bend them too. So we're just gonna go side by side. Oh, get in there. See, once they're in, they're not gonna go too far, I don't think. Basket's tilting, but come on, you. There. No. Once in a while I pick it up and look and see if it's, you know, looking like it's got a nice dome to it. That one needed. This one is sticking up a tad. Alright, now let's go to the next gap. And what I did there is I pulled some little pink ones, which would look nice, but I think I'm going to use, first of all, a couple of these big tulips. Look at these. I'm going to slant that in there. I can take an inch or so off of these, and I only have 2 of these left. But I want to try to fill, and I'm going to really slant these in because I don't want them sticking out too much. I want them really in there rather even with the purple and the white, like that. Okay, and that filled up a gap. So I'm going to go opposite. So I'll use those pinks. Get that in there. Come on, baby. I have to use force. And now, since I only had 2 and I have 2 more gaps, I'm going to... I've got these big carnations, and I could use those. But I actually wanted to save those for the top, but I might have to go purple. So, here's 2 I had not glued. So I'm going to stick some glue right in there. Can you see me? Oh, there we are. There I am. I'm going to stick some glue right in the middle here, just to, you're not going to see it. Okay. And then I'm going to glue down where the flower meets the stem, like that, right in there. Let that cool. I need another glue stick. So, and I'll get to this one. Let's go about, go ahead and cut it first. And I have these really long glue sticks. What I do before I put it in the gun is I'm trying to watch through the camera. Just get a little glue on that end, stick it in your glue gun, and that helps it pull down. So, I just did the center of this one, didn't I? No, I did not. Let's get the center of that one. And then the edge, and then I'm just going to push. I'm just going to push the leaves up. Okay. Whatever's there. Ooh, almost glued the petal in there. That could be hot. There we go. See, that'll take up some room. That'll fill in nicely. Let me trim this one too. Over here, just like that. And we'll fill this gap right here. Like that. That's a nice big flower. Come on. Perfect. That helped. Could bend this one down just a little. There, like that. So, just got these pinks across from each other. And I think it'll be lovely. Got a tangle here. Okay. This one. Maybe I'll have a little greenery on top. Slide that in. Okay, come on. Just a little further. I might be hitting another stem. There we go. There we go. Like that. So, see if I can't change this a little bit. And see what we have. Now, I've got 4 more of these purples. One's really an odd faded color, but they're already trimmed. The middles are already done. And what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to go right between the pink carnation, I think it is, I don't know, and the lily. And I'm just going to go right between those two and sort of space those purples out like that. Right down in there. Go around between those two. Oh, my neighbor Nancy, her property next door has a purple rose bush. Oh, and they're just this color, beautiful. Oh, and the new people living there, they don't speak English that well, and I'm gonna have to find someone that I know who could maybe possibly talk to them for me. I mean, we can wave and say hello, but it's kind of hard to have a conversation. But anyway, I was going to ask them if I could take a snip from that purple rose bush, because my father showed me how to, well, there's many ways to do it, but he showed me how to propagate a rose. Oh, I would love to try it. Okay, this one's there. See, and we're filling in the gaps. Now, what can I use next? I have these big purple ones, but since I have some of these pinks, do I just have 2? I have 3. So I have 3 of these pinks, but to compensate, I'm just going to use a white one. It's about the same size. And I'm going to go and see if I can't go between the 2 purples that are here. Get those down in there. That. Should I lift you? You can see better? Let's see. Hold on. Maybe a little bit. All right, where was I? I was there. So now I'm going to go across from it so I know exactly where I'm supposed to be, or else I'll forget and lose my place. I could just put the white one here. This had some flowers falling off of this white flower, but we're going to use it anyway, because it's going to be pretty. And then I'll go across the opposite side and get, there's that pink one. So I want this one over here. Where'd I put it? These have some off-white in it. I think they turned out nice. They're very pastel-y though, because like I don't have reds, and I have maybe one little bunch of oranges and not that many yellows left. But I thought I would use those if, you know, if I can need them for Halloween or something. In resin would be pretty. But anyway, that one I glued to itself. Uh-oh. There we go. Let's pull that up. Now, 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be about here. This is the easy part. Okay. There. I don't have much of a gap left. So, what I did have is I had 2 of these big, beautiful yellow ones, but I put the other one in the other basket. So, to compensate, I have this big purple one. Look at how big that is. That's very pretty. So, let me trim that one, because apparently I didn't do it. And that leaf, I'm just going to pop it off because it won't move. So, let me cut this little tip off. That, and we're just going to go, I guess I'm going to have to go above that. And it should still give me enough space to stick it in. Maybe I'll go below, just to be safe. Take a little more off of this one. So, 2 yellows. Actually, I have some other yellows, but let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and put a nice, pretty yellow one here amongst these pinks. Just like that. Go on, you. Oh, that's nice. And I'm looking sideways, and I have a bit of a dome. This pink middle piece could go down a little further. I think I'm going to have to trim it. So I just lost middle. It's okay, we'll find it again. Let's see where the hole is. There we go. There's our middle flower. Put it down a little bit. Okay. Pull this yellow one up. Oh, yeah, I'm just filling in gaps. That's pretty. And I'll take this other purple and go in here across from it. Ooh, look at that big beauty. And, you know, I'll tell you, buying silk flowers at a craft shop is really, it's pretty darn expensive. Some of them I've seen. Just for a little sprig or a little bunch, you're talking, you know, $20 to $30. And I can't roll like that, so thank goodness for it. Look at this. Now, I've got a few spaces. Like, I could add another purple here. It doesn't matter. Or I could add one of these pretty yellow ones. Be yellow by yellow, but we've got enough purple. Let's put that in there. Fill that gap. And I can go across from it. Fill this other gap. Be sure to pull the petals up as I go so they're not buried in there. Come on, you. Ah, yes. Now I still have a little gap over here. I can back you up a little bit. And I'm going to put one of these pretty big things in here. And they are full. Look at that. All right. And that, my friends, is one big pretty bouquet. Let me go up a little bit. Pardon the rest of my room. And there you go. I'll hold it out far. But look how pretty. It's got a nice dome to it. Nothing fancy, but very colorful to add to your patio. And I have a few flowers left. So, the chain came with this. It's a short chain. I wish it was a longer chain, but I'm not going to complain. Anyway, this is this metal chain. I'm just going to be sure to line it up. And these hooks at the bottom are a bit hard to pinch. So I've got to make sure they're facing down. Like that. And what I did discover with the basket is divide it into thirds. If I go every 10 spaces on the side of the basket at the top, it'll work out perfectly. So I'm going to sit down and do a little counting and add this chain. See if you can see. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to tip it to the side. I almost sat on something. Okay. Oh, these are so pretty. Can't wait to show you. Now, since these are tough to open, I'll just want to make sure I start on the one edge. They're all in line. Start at one edge. I don't know if you can see me, but I squeeze this with pliers because those are hard. And just snap it into place. And I'm going to count 10 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the next one, which would be the one in the middle, is going to go here. So I'm going to squeeze it. Oh, there. Now the last one, we'll go 10 again. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that gives us a perfect triangle with the chain. Yeah, if I could twist it properly. Oh, did I go backwards? I might have. No, I think we're good. I just got a kink over here. Let me fix that. Oh, I did. I should have used this one here. Billy, Billy, Billy. Let me unhook it. Messed up. Just a glitch. But hey, this turned out really pretty, and it didn't take that long, did it? Come on off of there. Squeezing. Oh, come on. Can I not get it off now? There we go. Let me make sure I'm right. Yes, this one has to go here. So I'm gonna squeeze that and open it. Get it on. get in there. Oh, pliers are in the way, but I need them because I can't squeeze that. There we go. Now, that's the way. Now let's count to 10 again here. It's better. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. Okay, this one goes here. I'm sitting down. I don't know what you can see now, what you cannot see. Okay. Squeeze it. Stick it on there. Okay, Billy, come on, come on, come on. Boy, I noticed on my my other video, the one with Claire's Christmas collab, I was huffing and puffing in that video. It's like, oh my gosh, boy. You're too close to the camera or something. Breathing like you're just climbed a mile hill. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm going to just go around and make sure that this chain isn't hindering where some of these petals are going. And I'll take this outside and show you all 4 of them. And I'm just going to hang them on a hook and show you, because if I put them on the patio, they're going to be pretty high up there. I might be able to get a good picture. I'm not quite sure. Come on, let's fall that one down. There. What do you think? There it is. So I'm thinking, I might have been able to do this for all 4, maybe for, I'm guessing $10. So I'm going to put you on pause, go outside, and I'll take a quick video of these, and you can see how pretty they turned out. Thank you. Hey everyone, I'm outside. Now let me look at that one. That's one I made earlier. I'm going to try to grab this one we just finished. It's hanging on the middle of this hook. But here you go. That's the one we had just done. Aren't they pretty? I don't know if you can see all 3. I can't get away. But that's the one we just finished. And here are the 2 hanging on these shepherd's hooks for just the time being. And I'm going to put them up and hang them in the patio. But aren't they pretty? What a nice addition to look at, you know, when I'm outside. And I don't have to take care of these. Just bring them in the winter and they'll be lovely. I'll keep them for next year and the year after. Anyway, just wanted to say thanks again for watching. Please subscribe if you'd like to join me. And I hope to get a resin video out soon. And boy, just love you all. Thank you so much. Hit the like button. That helps me a lot. And I want to thank my friend Isla for buying a coffee for me in July. My link's below if you'd like to do that. I'd appreciate it. It helps. See you later. Peace, love, and big hugs. Bye.